The reading today is taken from the Good News according to Yohanan, chapter 14, verses 23 to 27. The translation I'm reading from is the Jewish New Testament translated by David Stern, who is a Messianic Jew. That is, a man of the Jewish background, faith, religion, who recognizes Jesus as Messiah, as the Christ. In his translations, he retains the Hebrew names for people and places, and for the concepts that are sacred to Judaism. Reading it that way helps us to get connected to our Jewish roots, where our religion really is grounded. So as I read this the first time through, I'll stop to clarify some of his terminology for you, to get into some of those roots. But then the second time, I'll just read it straight through. So chapter 14 of John's Gospel takes us right into the middle of the Last Supper. Yeshua answered, "If someone loves me, they will keep my word, and my Father will love them, and we will come to them and make our home with them. I have told you these things while I am still with you. But the Counselor, the Ruach HaKodesh, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you everything." Counselor, that's an excellent translation into English of the Greek word parakletos. Sometimes you've heard him referred to as the Holy Spirit, the Paraclete. Para means alongside. Kletos is the past participle of the verb to call. So the parakletos is the one called to your side, beckoned to your side to help you. And who is this counselor? The Ruach HaKodesh. Ruach is breath. And for the Jews, but really universally by all humanity, breath is the sign of life, of a living presence. The living presence, HaKodesh, the Kodesh, Holy One. The Holy Spirit is the living presence of the Holy One. He will remind you of everything I have said to you. What I am leaving with you is shalom. I am giving you my shalom. Peace. How incredibly heavy and hopeful that is in our minds today. But peace is not just the absence of war. Shalom is a sense of wholeness. Their vision of full health is also shalom. It's all the parts working together. So let's sit ourselves at that Last Supper and hear this again without my interruptions. Yeshua answered, If someone loves me, they will keep my word, and my Father will love them, and we will come to them and make our home with them. I have told you these things while I am still with you. But the Counselor, the Ruach HaKodesh, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you everything. That is, he will remind you of everything I have said to you. What I am leaving with you is shalom. I am giving you my shalom. This is the word of the Lord. Let us take a few minutes to allow these words to seep into our soul, to wash over us. So is there a word, an image, a phrase that struck you during the reading?
The idea of sending the counselor to be by your side.
Okay.
Can you repeat that, Bruce?
The sending of the Counselor to be at our side. So, breath as evidence of a living presence. Yeah.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Peace means more than just not war.
Right. Peace, much bigger than just no war.
And that Yeshua left that to us, left his to us.
And Yeshua leaves that with us. Yeah. I'm struck by the gentle, literally homey way that Jesus describes our soul's connection with God. With Jesus, with the Creator, with the Spirit, the love that gives life to the world. My Father will love them, and we will come to them and make our home. And actually, the Greek word for home there isn't the mansion, it's the room that we are in together. Make our home with them. The Counselor, the living presence of the Holy One, is right in there where our soul is. As we enter our soul, whether we do it through focusing on our breathing or on the ring of the prayer bowl, or through breathing when we are in nature. When we do that, we come into the presence, the deep presence in our own soul of the divine. That spark of the divine within us. Listen to the echoes of that image in these quotes from your feedback to your reactions to the soul process. Todd put out that survey shortly after Easter asking us, one of the questions was, what is it that you are hearing or realizing as you meditate, as you contemplate in that 15 minutes of quiet prayer we each had? Some of your responses, the Lenten reflections can be peeled back to reveal deeper truths. The direct experience of God consciousness through the experience of awe moments. That we are each of us enough as we are. We are all one family of living beings. Feeling that love is in the room when we gather. A felt sense of union with one another and the holy. It struck me as I went to that reading how really alive that is in this room on a regular basis, and also in each of our hearts during the week. We bring that counselor, that connection with the counselor, that communication with the divine, each a deep, deep personal experience, but it seems a common experience. That forms our community. And so as we talk about that and share those reflections, the soul of this community is coming to light. It's getting out there on the table. You see it printed in front of you with other quotes from that same resource, the feedback that all of you gave to the questions on the soul experience. As we continue this process now, we hope to become increasingly aware of the spiritual momentum of this community. For to be alive is to be ever putting more weight on our forward foot, and then the next, and then the next. Being alive is moving through time, moving into the future, every split second, every year, every decade of our lives. And the time we are in truly is a liminal time. There is quite a threshold, a very complex one, that our lives have spanned, and it only seems to get faster and more significant in the changes as we get older. There are catastrophic changes in climate. In social equity, the rich get richer, the poor and the middle class get poorer. We elders are more elderly than elders were when we were kids. Politics is more widely divisive. The churches that we know are more open and welcoming, and yet church congregations are mostly older and increasingly smaller. In our reflections through the Liminality Project, we've noticed some things that we'd best leave behind, that don't speak to us, don't excite us anymore, or they'd even turn us off. And we're also noticing some things, some experiences, attitudes, values, relationships that we definitely want to keep and to nurture for further growth. So how do we move forward as a community of choice? No one forces us to be here. We come on our own. Let us become more aware of what we yearn for as individuals. For the yearning is a sign of a hungry soul. Let us become more aware of what we collectively yearn for as a community. And there are some expressions, very clear ones, on the tables in front of you. Let us become more aware of what constrictions there may be on our choices. And let us become more aware of the resources that we can bring to bear to enable our making of good decisions. For before long, we will have significant decisions to make with regard to a new building, a new presence in the community. So our reflecting on the Word is going to be looking at those two questions. What do we remember about the Soul of Fairfield, which was part of the Liminality Project? The liminality is we've come out of a past, some things get left. We're in the midst of many changes. We need to reflect on what are those changes, how do they affect us? But we have to reflect on that in terms of our soul. We've got to start there, in terms of what's most important to us, of what we yearn for. How do I respond to the big changes in life around me? What am I aware of? What are some of the things that other people mention that I am not that aware of, but are also important? So as we listen to one another reflecting on those things, we expand our own soul and we get a sense of the broad community soul. So as we answer these questions, yes, reflect, care about what each of us is saying, but then listen to what everyone else is saying so that we get a grasp of our soul. What next steps are we curious about? How do we move into reflections on such concrete things as how do we move into a new building? Now, we don't know all the details of that yet. We should fairly soon, but we don't have that now. The important thing is, how do we see what's going on in our society at large, what we're living through, this liminality age? How do we move through that?